I just did another show today. These are not the pick-me-ups from the show I did today. These are pick-me-ups from the previous show that I had talked to you guys about. Um, I'm only doing shows going to them right now. I might vendor soon, waiting for me to clear up my inventory. I'm not a big fan of selling my raw, and it's just because I prefer to grade stuff. I prefer to take the risk to grade stuff. So what I typically do with my raw is I do list it on Facebook Marketplace, and then I write down the price on the sleeve. I don't usually sticker anything for something that's in a sleeve of some sort. And then I take it with me, and I have that as trade for various things. But let's go ahead and we'll jump into these, get this prepped. And I'll also just go ahead and talk about kind of, the show I just went to and maybe some things to expect along with, some things that may not be obvious to y'all. You might be trying to figure out what's going on. I need to print on black paper because this this makes this difficult. So here we'll zoom in a little bit because I am looking at it through the camera just like you guys are. Make sure you're playing Guess the Grades. It has been a long time really since anyone has guessed the grades. And again, I have to print out new sheets. These are still labeled in PSA. So we're still guessing at the PSA equivalent. There's a nick up top. I still think this should PSA 9, but we're sending these to CGC. We're pretty much in boycotts of CGC. Now, I want to be clear, and some people have their opinion on it. They don't agree with me on this. I'm still willing to buy and sell already PSA graded things. And here's why I'm willing to do that. It does have an established price, and if we boycott PSA, that's fine. I don't necessarily want that to affect and impact people who have been, building up a PSA collection for a whole bunch of reasons. The point of the boycott is to affect PSA, so this one would be difficult because it's got a really strong up curve. This one, I probably should negotiate the price more. I know Agron has a pretty decent following. Agron is, of course, not as heavily followed as Tyranitar. I think if Agron had showed up earlier in the series, I think Agron would have probably had a stronger following than Tyranitar, but Agron, shows up kind of later. So just the Agron whole, it's more of a niche group. But for me, when I had played the newer Pokemon games, and by newer, I mean Ruby and Sapphire, uh, when I had played the newer Game Boy Pokemon games, Agron was one of my carries. So that is a terrible, I mean, honestly, that would probably PSA 4. I'm going to be interested to see what CGC gives it. In fact, I may actually even use this card as one of my attempts to repair card. So I might see, because that looks repairable for those, if you haven't seen those really cool videos where people are repairing Pokemon cards. And a way of repairing, they're not adding anything to, they have these, they like these steam tools and humidifiers and dehumidifiers, and they basically level out some of these things. So I don't think that necessarily is illegal because they're not necessarily changing the card. They're just fixing some of the stuff that had occurred, like a bend or a ding. I'm going to put, I don't know how much it costs. I'm going to look at the comparison. And I'm going to bet they could probably repair that up to a 7 because of that being mainly the only issue. And if the price difference is significant, and guessing a 7, and maybe they could, bring it up even higher, to be honest. That really was like the main issue with this card. So if they got that fleshed out, that could possibly be even in the 8 to 9 range. 10, I think, it is still apparent for them to see some damage, but it is what it is. Oh man, this Magneton just has a fantastic swirl. Look at that. That is just like double, triple swirl. wonderful holographic. Um, but yeah, a little bit of whitening, very minimal. Centering's not perfect, but honestly, it's jeez, man. I'm gonna say 9 to 10, and so you might be like, oh, it's definitely not a 10, but I've seen some interesting PSA 10s, and again, I know I keep saying that. It's not out of habit. It's the fact that that's the grading scale we're going with, because I haven't received my 21 cards to CGC yet. So I don't have a good CGC perspective. And really that 21 card sample is only going to give me so much perspective. That's why I continue to do these with PSA in mind, so I can kind of see if there is a comparison. And honestly, there should be a difference, because technically CGC grades 1 through 11, we've been over this, just like Beckett grades 1 through 11, technically Tag grades 1 through 11, but PSA doesn't grade 1 through 11. Oh, and that's where I left off. So I am fine with boycotting sending stuff into PSA, and I'm fine with buying stuff that's already been graded, via PSA. And I don't want the boycott to affect those who, is that a ding? Is that why this was? I'm seeing weird lighting, but I can't tell what it is. I'm gonna have to pull it off screen. Give me a second. So it's weird if it's a ding. It's not on the back side, and if it's a ding, it's weird that I can feel it with my fingernail. It's casting light. And it doesn't really look like a crumb. It might be some sort of air bubble ding. Honestly, this really isn't that big of a deal of a card. A lot of people, kind of lose their minds because I'll send in cards that really aren't worth anything unless they 10. And so clearly this card wouldn't 10. There's some whitening on the corner, whitening on that corner. Now, before the ding, probably would have guessed 8. Really, the ding's very minimal. It's there, but man, you really got to hold it under very specific lighting to see it. I mean, we're zoomed in pretty heavily here. So, that 1.5 was, there we go. That's pretty good zoom in. So I don't want the boycott to affect people who have built up quite a PSA collection, or they've been with PSA. I don't think my target, and maybe some people do, want that to happen, because dang, let's say 7 to 8. The ding makes it hard. If you take the ding out, I would just say 8, and the ding might even be stronger than a 7, but I don't know. But I don't want this whole boycott idea to affect those who aren't PSA. Vendors aren't PSA. I'm not PSA. People who have bought and sold PSA are not PSA. PSA is an entity in a company, and they're the ones who get the money for grading, and they're the ones who are solely responsible for all these actions that the company PSA has done. And I would probably get over it if it was only like one thing, but PSA lately has just had back to back to back bad things happening, and not to them, but to others who use them. And 8 to 9, and once, the reason why, like, if it was once, you'd be like, oh, that definitely was just a coincidence or an incident or an accident or a misfortune that occurred, and then hopefully they correct it, and you go, oh, hey, once, got it. But to get caught, I said 8 to 9, to get caught as much as they have been gotten caught, and here's the thing with the gem rate numbers too that everyone keeps posting, and if you don't know, the gem rate numbers is the numbers where it shows how many submissions each company has received for the week and month and year. The year ones would definitely show the whole year, but I wonder, like, in regards to when they show the months, if those submission rates are the ones they've processed or new ones they've received. And the reason why that's important is because if we're still seeing numbers based on what they're processing, then that's why the numbers would still look high, because they already had a bunch of stuff in their system. If it wasn't for those, I'd say straight 9. Now I'd probably say straight 8, maybe even 7-ish. So with that in mind, they would want to show off big numbers if it's still the ones they're processing, if it makes you, the public, think people are still sending cards into them. Because then it will have the effect to where you go, well, everyone else is still sending cards into them. I guess I might as well do it. But that may not be the case. We might be seeing lag. We might be seeing cards processed, not cards submitted. And I'd like to know more about that gem rate data. I'd like to know, one, how they're getting that data. I'd like to know how they're getting that data. And I'd like to know what the data actually consists of. I'd like to know if that is, see that is on the card. I need to get like a shoot, what are they called? A X-Acto knife, just to kind of flat edge this stuff off instead of using my fingernail like a caveman. But they're using, I've got a strong feeling that the data they're using is submissions they're processing, not submissions they're receiving. Because if they showed submissions receiving, then it would show an immediately decline. Is this a crease? What the heck is this? Usually creases start from the side. I don't know what I'm... Huh, maybe it's just some gunk. Let me... Did that come off? Oh. Not really, that's weird. I guess I'll have to try a baby wipe to that. Oh, I don't have one on hand. It's not creased, is it? It doesn't start from the side. Oh, there's a decent whitening there. This one's gonna be difficult because I think I can get this cleaned off with a baby wipe. So ignoring that, and I'll make a note to baby wipe off the back. Ignoring that with whitening and whatnot, probably just the 8. If I can't get the stuff off, then it would be 7 to 8. So I do think that's a psychology trick. One, I don't know of PSA and CGC and Beckett and them all voluntarily, sending in that data. But because those companies have never mentioned it, and never been like, oh yeah, we send stuff to gem rate. Plus, without, like, we don't know how the data is pulled. It's a very clean fossil, Japanese hypno with swirl, which is very hard to get because it's a very dark card with the hollow. If we don't know how they get the data and no one's verifying it, there's a ding up top, and it's a strong ding, 7 to 8. It's unfortunate. But they can really just put whatever they want for that data. We're not verifying it. We're not getting to go in and count those numbers. And when that data shows there's a large popularity, people tend to go to what they think is popular. And so, again, this could just be another third-party system in favor of PSA. Because, like, I am running into more and more, and even seeing more and more, less and less PSA slabs and PSA submissions. And So I don't necessarily think some whitening, but it's very minimal. Oh, it's minimal, but it's there. Oh, but there's more up here. If it wasn't for the whitening, I'd definitely say this would be a PSA 10. So this would be a 9, unfortunately. But, man, that hollow on this card, though, is clean. So, yeah, I think the public is being swayed on purpose with how that gem rate report is written, because I'm seeing the shift. And again, I'm perfectly fine. Buy and sell your PSA slabs as needed. Just don't use PSA to grade. PSA makes no money when you buy and sell a PSA slab between people. They make money when you submit things. So I would just tell you, stop submitting things to them. And I don't think you should ever go back. I think what you do, if people end up going back to them, oh, this is a 10. I think what people would do is they'll go back to them once the deal's good enough. You know, when PSA goes back to $12 a card grade, and they have all these super duper bonus programs, and you know, they give you all of these. It's actually also technically an error. I'll show you what I mean. Just saw it. Probably really hard to see, especially on camera. But this Pokeball feature, let me see if I can get a smoother. You can hardly see it, but that Pokeball is supposed to be in the hollow, not on the card. So technically an error. So yeah, I mean, I'm boycotting PSA. Now I've bought some slabs from vendors, and I've been selling my PSA slabs to people and vendors. And now this one's gonna be difficult. This one might be one that I also, if I'm gonna send the Aggron in, I might as well send this one in with it too, because this one has the beat up corner. And it's got some peeling on the front too, but it's just got that beat up corner. So I'm not so worried about the whitening. So with the whitening as is, I'd say 7 on whitening. The beat up corner really lowers it to 5 to 7. But so I'll say 5 to 7, but that's gonna be one of those cards that I'm gonna make notice to repair, send in to repair. You know, these will be cards that I'm willing to test out. Some of those repair videos are crazy. And I kind of got some serious questions about it. I can understand like the idea behind doing some of that. So what I mean by that is some of those repair videos, you'll see them repairing like a Gold Star Rayquaza, and like essentially no matter what, I think even as a 1, that card is in the thousands. So, you know, extremely valuable cards. And clearly if it's already, however, you know, beat up, this card, unfortunately, I had this and I had it with it had 4 swirls on it, and I think I didn't add any premium tax to it. And with the card having 4 swirls on it, I really should have. So it's not too uncommon to get multiple swirls on this card, but getting 4 clear as day swirls on it, that's pretty hard to do. If you get the chance to buy this card raw, understand that the thing that makes this card and these series of cards from WotC so hard to get a good grade is the fact that this is all hollow foil, and you can see already how easily it scratches. I don't know what this even goes for as a 10 or 9 anymore, but I think the 10s always carry a super stiff premium. This might be a card also I would consider getting repaired, just because they have a way to like polish out the scratches. And this is one of those cards, if you get it as a 10, it really jumps up. There is still some other issues going on with it. I mean, even just as is though, without getting that stuff done, it'd be 8 to 9 already. I'm gonna have to take a look at what this goes for as a 10. Because I do think if the scratches were removed, and it looked like in those videos, those repair videos, the corners aren't too difficult to do. I think that could be moved up to 10 status. And again, this is one of those cards that, as is, even as a 8 or a 9, unless it's just they really moved and I just haven't been around to notice. Because I kind of stopped following that card years ago. But that card, when it was an 8 to 9 5 years ago, really wasn't that crazy. You basically could have bought it raw for the same price as an 8, and you'd only pay a little bit more for it as a 9. But then again, as a 10, I think it was at like a flat 1,000. I don't know what it is nowadays as a 10. Some whitening, but I would still put this one as 9 to 10. But I am essentially in full boycott mode. Well, some of you will say not full, because I'll still buy and sell PSA slabs. And maybe I get to a point to where I don't. But right now, I am. I don't want to hurt the people who are buying and selling, people who are collecting. It's not my intent. And I don't think putting PSA out of business would necessarily ruin anyone's collection. I think PSA slabs would still sell. I think maybe they would even come with more of a premium once, basically there's now a true complement of PSAs, because there's no one to, this is a 10. This is a 10. And I could not believe this card was only $12. And it's kind of funny. There is a lot of vendors who still are not a big fan of Japanese vintage. Honestly, if you're collecting, I would say buy Japanese. It's pretty much 100% the same card. Sometimes maybe a holographic difference. But other than that, it's pretty much minimal. Okay. This was a cool card. I've never seen it before. Boy, I sure hope it's real. It should be. It should be. I could have sworn, yeah, okay, there's some stuff up top. Not anything crazy. It's like whitening. Yeah, there's some whitening. Yeah, right there on the corner. Some up there, some up there. This would be in the 8 to 9 category. I've had some 9s that have more whitening than you'd think. And those are the the cards I try and move out. I will tell you this now, not all 9s are the same. You've made it this far in the video, you deserve some tips and tricks. Not all 9s are the same, especially nowadays. Some 9s, a lot of 9s, are 10s. And you'll hear me say that a lot, because I, believe that to be true. So I am purposely, ooh, nice swirls. I purposely hunt down PSA 9s. Because, oh my God, well, this 10, this card is so hard to 10. Oh, right there. Ooh. Oh, man. 9. 9. 9. So close. This card, especially the English version, really jumps as a 10. Really jumps as a 10. I think I think it's the first edition, but the first edition English version, I think as a 9 it's like 500, but as a 10 it's like 10,000. Those are confirmed solds, not asked. I mean, technically they are also asked, but those are confirmed solds. I get hit up a lot on these delivery Charizards. Oof. So that would be like a PSA 9. Oof. That's okay. That's okay. I think I only paid like 140 for it. So as 9s, I think they're like 250, 270 right now. I was gonna try and fit some other things in. Maybe I'll fit it into another video. I think I actually started saying I was going to talk about vendoring, what to look for, and I basically got into my, dealing with PSA and boycotting them and whatnot, which is still going to be a part of vendoring because you're going to deal with slabs vendoring. Ooh, this is probably just a straight 10. I have no idea what this card goes for as a 10. And that's my other tip to you. If you can buy cards that are already graded, and the cost of them, especially if they're a 10, which this does happen every now and then. It happened for my buddy because I told him to do it. Every now and then, some cards, even as 10s, basically sell for what the grading fee would be. And if you can buy a card that's already graded, and it's a 10, for the price of what it would be to grade the card, which is kind of the silliest concept ever, 8 to 9, do it. And so he did that. He listened to me for one, and he bought some sort of modern Gengar, I forget which one it was, and he bought it as a 10. I think he said he paid like $28, and then like 3 months later the card sold for 200. And so if he just would have bought several more, he would have really have, ran up his money on that. This is the nicer one out of the two. I did an earlier video with this Jirachi. Yeah, probably just 9. Don't sleep on these cards either. These World Champion cards do fairly well. Well, I'm gonna end it here. And oh wait, I said 8 and 9. I'm gonna end it here, and hopefully I will give you some more actual tips for going to shows.